Hey, what's up guys, it's Renaldo here. So this video is going to focus on what I can only describe as an epic fail by the Department of Communication and Digital Technologies. Now before we get into who the minister is, what I can just tell you is that they formulated a draft AI policy for this country. And the irony with this is that this policy is supposed to assist both the government and the private sector in how they deal with AI and making sure that they deal with it in a responsible manner and an ethical manner. But now it's come out that this draft policy is in actual fact drafted by AI. So, not actually listening to what they want to implement here. And the reason that people have now found out that portions of it has been drafted by AI itself is because the references that is referenced within the draft policy doesn't exist. And this is something that usually happens when you ask AI to give you sources and to vindicate or to, double down on what you are saying to be factual. And then it provides references. And then when you actually go and look if these references exist, then clearly it doesn't. So there's at least 6 instances where this has taken place. And before I show you what my broadband wrote about this, please be sure to subscribe to this channel. It's absolutely free. It won't cost you anything. And the overwhelming majority of you that regularly watch my content aren't subscribed, but you can fix that by just clicking the subscribe button below. All right, so let's have a look. All right, so my broadband, thanks for this article, and it says scandal erupts over South Africa's new draft AI policy, which used fake references generated by AI. And over here, you've got the minister Solly Malatsi, who now has egg on his face. A scandal has erupted over the new draft South Africa National Artificial Intelligence Policy, which has been generated with AI and contains numerous fake references. Now, earlier this month, the Department of Communications and Digital Technologies published a draft artificial intelligence policy for South Africa. The policy prioritizes a sector-specific multi-regulator model with the intention of integrating AI governance into existing bodies. The draft national AI policy is based on the South African National Artificial Intelligence Policy Framework of August 2024, the department said. It formulated the policy based on 32 stakeholder submissions and consultations with government structures through the cabinet cluster process. It goes on and it goes on, but on the 24th of April, Article 1 wrote a letter to the Minister of Communications and Digital Technology, Solly Malatsi, about the problems. The next day, News 24 published an article revealing that the department used fake and made-up research in its AI policy. According to a News 24 report, the draft South Africa National Artificial Intelligence Policy contains at least 6 fictitious resources. And you can have a look at it here when it actually shows you what the specific references were. And it's source 5, source 9, source 10, source 19, source 22, and source 56 in that draft policy. All right, so it's important to note that the minister is the person that submits a draft policy, and he has not taken any accountability for this, which to me clearly indicates that he actually doesn't know what's going on within his department, because surely with such an important draft policy document, you would make sure that you've got everything ready, because it's a draft policy that could turn into law in this country. Well, Solly Malatsi has not taken accountability for this. But then again, this is also not the first time that a DA minister has messed up. I mean, there's actually quite a lot. The Minister of Agriculture, John Steenhuisen, in the way that he's dealt with the foot and mouth disease outbreak, and how he almost seems very ANC-ish in wanting to make sure that the state controls it and not the private sector or the farmers being able to roll it out. Then you've got Siviwe Garube, who is the Minister of Basic Education, that is now doubling down on ANC history for this country. You remember the Jan van Riebeeck story and how they want to not make that the focus anymore. And then on top of that, also Bella. The DA was the ones that fought Bella And now the DA is the one that is implementing Bella through their minister. So let's see, we've got agriculture, we've got basic education, we've got communications and digital technologies. Oh, and then of course, we've got the Minister of Public Works, Dean McPherson, that his political party is taking themselves to court as the government for implementing Expropriation Act, which is the EWC Act, the Expropriation Without Compensation. And it's also that minister that famously at a conference said that null does not mean zero. So here we are now with four ministers from the DA that have all made a massive balls up within their departments, and none of them are taking accountability. None of them are being held responsible. Well, you can argue that to an extent they dealt with John Steenhuisen, but they dealt with him as the leader of the DA and not as the Minister of Agriculture. So it is quite concerning to see that, the party that proclaims that they govern better than anybody else and that they will clean their departments up are now causing so much havoc as ministers. And I think that the latest one by Solly Malatsi, getting the draft AI policy wrong, where it is shown to actually have fake AI sources in it, just tells you what is clearly going on in South Africa at the moment. Now, the reason this is so embarrassing, not only for the DA, but for the GNU as a whole, is because the DA's sole reason for remaining in the GNU is to make sure that they run the departments better than their ANC counterparts, and also to keep the EFF and MK out. But if you look at the policies that they are implementing, the EFF and MK is quite happy to sit as the opposition because they are the official opposition of South Africa. I know that's quite scary. And the fact that they are not making any noise tells you that the GNU is implementing what they want implemented. An example of this is the Expropriation Act that is governed by a DA minister. And then you've got Bella, which is governed by a DA minister. You've got the foot and mouth disease outbreak being led by the state, which is what the ANC, MK, and EFF would have wanted. Don't allow the private sector to control it. Let the state run it. And then, of course, you've got this draft AI policy now that clearly demonstrates that the minister doesn't actually know what he's doing, or that the people in his department don't respect or trust him enough to share this information with him. So the sole reason for the DA to remain in the GNU has clearly over time been demonstrated to be a false flag, if you will. Whether they stay in the GNU or not, these policies are being implemented even by themselves, and it doesn't make sense. And yet they think that they are doing such a good job in keeping the EFF and MK out, but yet, like I stated multiple times in this video, it's just they are implementing policies that the EFF and MK and the ANC want. And then of course we have Dirko, which is just doing whatever they want because there's no input from other political parties. And that is why we've seen South Africa aligning more with Russia, China, and Iran, and moving further away from the United States. So ultimately, we've gone from the DA being an effective and solid opposition in parliament to now being part of government through the GNU. And instead of being a solid opposition, even in the GNU, they are now just implementing the ANC policies. So whatever their reason is for remaining in the GNU, the only conclusion that I can come to is that it's because of the positions themselves. And they think that they are actually helping the DA's cause in getting more support, when in actual fact, it's the opposite. People don't like what they are seeing. People don't like the direction that these ministers are taking their departments in, because it is very reminiscent of ANC ministers doing exactly what they wanted to do, which is communist and socialist policies. So you can hate me all you want. You can say all the bad things that you want about me, but argue the facts. Argue the facts. Is Siviwe Garuba implementing the Bella Act? Yes or no? Yes, she is. And if you are saying no, you're lying to yourself. Is John Steenhuisen implementing state control with the vaccines? Yes, he is. And if you want to argue with me about it, then go and look at the facts. Is Dean McPherson saying that null does not mean zero and his department is implementing the Expropriation Act? The facts are yes, it is. So don't get angry at me. Get angry at the political party that you supported and voted for. So with this latest example, with the Department of Communications and Digital Technologies, the question that everybody have to ask themselves is, why is the DA still in the GNU if they keep on making mistakes and they are implementing policies that they promised their electorate that they wouldn't implement? These are questions that you need to ask, and I would like to get your feedback in the comments below. Are you happy with what is going on in the GNU at the moment? Do you think it's working? Do you think it's a success? Do you think that the DA is doing a better job in the GNU than what they would have if they were the opposition outside of the GNU? I'd like to hear your thoughts, but that's pretty much all I got to say. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please be sure to smash that like button, share this video far and wide. Don't forget to subscribe. It's absolutely free. However, if you'd like to support me in this channel, you can do so by either clicking on the $ below and choosing an amount, and that will be a donation towards me and this channel. It'll be greatly appreciated. Or you can become a member by clicking the join button below, and that comes with its own perks, and you can check that out by clicking on that button. And that's pretty much all I got to say. Till later, cheers and peace out.
You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say I wear my massacre. You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say I wear my massacre. I wear my massacre. You don't even know me, but every time you see me, you say I wear my massacre. I wear my massacre.